Hi, my loves. So today I want to talk about something that is so deeply woven into every part of our existence, but that we often forget to honor, and that is the cycles of life. And this is from a divine feminine perspective because I feel like a lot of women need to hear this and be reminded of this every so often. Because when we look at nature, it is so clear, right? The moon waxes and wanes, the tides rise and fall, the seasons change, spring bursts with new beginnings, summer is all about abundance, autumn teaches us letting go, and winter whispers stillness. Nature doesn't resist these cycles, she surrenders to them. But us, we try to force ourselves to be in summer all year round, energetically, to always be producing, always growing, always on, and when we hit a season of loss or rest or quiet, we think that something is wrong with us. And the truth is, nothing is wrong. You're just moving through a cycle. Honoring the cycles of life is about remembering that everything has a rhythm. Our bodies, our emotions, our creativity, our relationships, they all move through beginnings, middles, and endings. And when we stop resisting these things and instead we honor where we are, we unlock so much peace. So let's start with the cycle of creation. Whenever we birth something into the world, whether it's a new idea, a project, a relationship, even a version of ourselves, it begins as a seed. And in the seed phase, things might feel slow, you might feel unsure, but this is necessary. It's the fertile ground where vision takes root. And then comes the growth phase. Energy builds, momentum rises, you start seeing progress and results, and this is where we feel the most alive, the most productive, the most abundant version of ourselves. But growth is not meant to last forever. Eventually we hit harvest, and that's the place of enjoying what we've created, receiving the fruits of our labor. And after harvest, there's always a release, the letting go, the death phase. And this is the part that feels hardest for most of us because we don't want to let go. We want to cling. We don't like endings, but in truth, endings are what make space for beginnings again. Think of the moon. She does not apologize for disappearing into the darkness each month. She knows she'll return. Her power lies in the cycle, not in clinging to one phase. So how can we bring this wisdom, this beautiful divine feminine cyclical nature wisdom into our lives? First, the most important thing is by listening to our bodies. Your energy will not be the same every single day, or even every single week. There will be times you're full of fire and times that you're meant to rest. If you're tired, it does not mean that you're lazy. It might just mean you're in a winter season. Let your body be your guide. Okay, this is very important, especially when it comes to our menstrual cycle and, energetically and spiritually, biologically, women go through 4 different seasons every month, right? So that's very important to get to know your own cycle and how your body works, how you feel. Some of us have PMDD, some of us don't. Some of us have very bad PMS, some of us don't. And listening to our body and nurturing our body and giving our bodies what they need at that time is going to be so helpful. Because when those more powerful, more bursts of energy come forth, you're able to work through them without getting burnt out because you know how to nurture yourself. Okay? And second, you can practice releasing. Ask yourself, what am I holding on to that has already run its course? Is it a relationship, a job, a version of me that I've outgrown? Releasing is sacred, okay? It is not failure. It's the natural closing of a cycle. And third, by celebrating beginnings. Sometimes we downplay the small new things in our lives because they don't feel big enough yet. But every seed deserves celebration. When you honor the tiny beginnings, you nurture them into something greater. Celebrate your small wins. Okay, celebrate those small daily victories, accomplishing those little goals, because it just makes life so much sweeter, and it really feeds that positive momentum to your manifestations. Lastly, by trusting timing. Okay, not all seasons are meant to look the same. Some seasons are about growth, some are about rest, some are for building, some are for breaking down. When we trust timing, we stop comparing ourselves to everyone else and we move in harmony with our own rhythm. So, if you're in a cycle of blossoming, honor that. Dance with it. If you're in a cycle of endings, let yourself grieve, but also let yourself release. If you're in a cycle of rest, give yourself permission to pause without guilt. Because here's the truth, you can't be stuck. Cycles are always turning. Nothing lasts forever, not the highs, not the lows. And honoring the cycles of life teaches us to hold gratitude in both, to see beauty in the blooming and in the withering. And when you live this way, you start to move with the universe instead of against it. You stop forcing, you start flowing. And that, my loves, is the deepest form of freedom. It's just being with the universe and just flowing with it. So today, I invite you to reflect. What cycle are you in right now? Can you soften into it instead of resisting? Can you honor it as sacred, knowing it's guiding you exactly where you're meant to be? Remember, life is not linear. It's a spiral, and each cycle brings you deeper, wiser, and closer to yourself. Okay? Thank you so much, my loves, for sharing this moment with me. I hope this message reminds you to breathe a little deeper and trust a little more and honor the cycles that shape your life, okay? If you would like to book a reading or a spiritual session with me, you can either DM me on Instagram at Siren's Nectar or go to sirensnectar.com for booking info. Okay? I love you. Thank you.